Kingfisher boat. Ah yeah, a new one. I mean, I finished the last game. It only was till Monday that I had to make it. So for this week, or maybe the next month, I want to make a new game. Or a simple one. Ah, I'm good, I'm good. So, yeah. The last 2 days I was a bit tired. But, yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't feel like streaming. Just played a bit. I mean, I came late from work. Or late. I got my notes for school. They're not that bad. I mean, they're pretty average. And yeah. Oh, and today yeah, on Sunday I wanted to finish the game completely, and I wanted to listen to my own music. Durchschnitt. The average like average middle of 2 groups, like in the normal, but average means I think my let me do the word my average grade was 2. So I think it was actually a 2.09. So my grades are not that bad. No, I actually, oh yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 4 3er, 1, 2, 3, 4 tour, and 1, 2, 3 ones. 5 minus in math. Oh, that's bad. Okay, math is the only main class where I had a 1. I might be able to show it to you like that. Wait a second. Yeah, like this. I don't know if you can read it. Nah, it's not focusing. But 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. So it's, I mean, I get the highest with this average grade. I get the highest possible. A second. Graduation.
Graduation.
Graduation. For the high school diploma. Okay, so it's the best one with grades here. Yeah, okay, I'm always watching Lehrer Schmidt if I at least, even though I can do this, or I'm pretty good at math for this thing, but I still watch 1 or 2 videos from Lehrer Schmidt before the exam. But I almost never train for the math exams. I mean, they're completely easy normally. No, it's actually a qualifizierter Realschulabschluss. Qualified high school diploma. So now I can go to all the different Hochschulen, high schools that I want, where I can do my Abi. Yeah, well, okay. High school, okay. Abitur means, yeah. Wait a second. Okay, I'm back. So, what's the plan for your new game, bro? Okay, so the idea for my next game should be like hexagons. I want to make a 3D game with hexagons that are those. Oh hell no, they inverted the wrong direction. I hate this. Yeah, they're like six corners, how do you call it, and you can pretty much place them all over. There's some really cool games that are made with this. Wait, hexagon and no, let's like for pretty much all the transforming games where you can deform the world or so, like build down, except Minecraft, there the world is made of out of here hexagons. Games. I already see that there is no dumb ad that gets me banned. I'm looking for a cool tutorial I found earlier. Can just go to YouTube and search history. The music stuff. Wallet. Here. I mean, look at this. That's just hexagons. So I don't want, probably won't make a game like that, like the detailed. At least for now, I only want to make a flat surface where you can battle against other players in here. Either tic-tac-toe, you have like all those fields, have to manage your troops, and you fight around fields by playing tic-tac-toe against them, maybe. Or you have like a mini game where one has to the attacker has to go up a hill, and the defender has to throw rocks or stuff at them. Probably some rocks, and then you can maybe upgrade the stuff you can throw at other players. Like I'm thinking of like a Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, yeah, Clash Royale, strategy stuff where you have to like wait for a few seconds before you can spawn your new card. But yeah, I'm thinking about making this for 7 days a prototype, and if it's playable after that 7 days, I'll continue working on this. If I can see that I'll be able to finish it. It again should be a handy game, but now I'll probably add a PC version 2, because I think you can play this on PC pretty well too. But the game itself is planned to be for a mobile phone. Yeah. So we have two versions here. On one you I know my English teacher told me handy. No, hey, handy is an English word. You see? Praktisch. It's quite handy. No, you're not an English teacher, you didn't know that handy. I meant handy all the time. All the time I meant this word here. Yeah, no. So on one side you have this battle mechanic here. Let me do the thread. And on the other side we have the tic-tac-toe game. I first of all thought maybe making this would be easier, but then I have to program an AI that not just randomly places the stuff here all over the field. I mean, I could do that, but it probably would be quite hard to adjust the difficulty of the tic-tac-toe game. And if it's just random, you probably can just win in all the games. And the plan for the game is to be like a conquest game. I don't know if you ever played like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old game from 2005. But there is a game mode where you can fight around stars. So you have a whole galaxy and a solar system. Or what is it? I think it's a galaxy or a solar system. You can choose on the map size. And you play in those ships. And you have to go from star to star and capture all the stars. But you also play against an AI. Back in the day, okay, I wasn't born in 2005 or whenever it came out, but I could play online against other players, and then you have like those massive battles where you play around the star, and after you finish the match, you're not just getting any points with that, you can upgrade your skins and get some play to win stuff here. After you finish the game, finish the round, winning or losing, depends then your fleet gets destroyed and you have to spawn a new one. And so you have to have games that go on for 2 weeks. I mean, I think I played it for 2 weeks with one game mode, and it's a really cool mechanic. I think you played Ravenfield before. There is this game mode too, or the campaign is like this too. Let me just search it up. Wait a second, I'm back in a second. Yeah, so let me just find it. Just gonna show you the game mode real quick. like it because you can fly helicopters and so, but I won't be able, or I might be able to make a first person shooter, but I don't want to make a first person shooter, at least for now, because it probably would take too long to finish it, and I want to make a game that where I can make a prototype of it in less than 7 days, so I can see if the game is fun or not. Oh, I found it here. Let's just play a few rounds. I always like to play helicopter. Look up the word that I'm okay, so we have here. Just see. Apply normal settings. I think I have the helicopter settings or my gamepad setup. Here it's called Conquest. Let's just start a new game. And then in the start you have like this mission board here. And you have this like weapons you can unlock. Every time you win a game you get some resources, and with those resources you can decide in the resource tree here, or however you want to call it. This tree here you can decide if you want to buy an ammo bag or the M1 Grand. And after you buy the M1 Grand, you see you have need 3 research points for it. And after you buy this, you can here, after you have again enough research points, you can buy the next weapons, and then you play against an AI. And then you have the same thing for the planes and vehicles itself. If you buy the MG, then next round I'll be able to buy an MG truck, and an MG truck and a normal truck here with MG mounted on it. And yeah, so I'm thinking about this idea a bit of the game. I really like it because you can play those for days or even weeks. Or if you want to make a really big game or a game of it, you can probably make it even bigger with modding, so that it might go on for months until you can actually capture the whole map. Because if I now go with here, oh, it's a bit buggy here. So, and now I can move the troops around, and then I can end my turn. Then the enemy will set his troops, and then he attacks me, and now we'll have a match in this on this map here. And then whoever wins gets this point, and in the end, who has defeated all the enemy troops and captured all the points has won. But I don't think there is the actual winning screen yet. You just have then unlimited resources. And then oh no, my settings aren't set. Wait, keyboard, yeah, now. Set up. Then I can just and yeah, that's the whole game. You see, if I surrender, the enemy here takes my troops, the red guys, and I have those troops left. I can buy new troops here, and now I have some new research points, so I now can buy the MG, Razorback MG, and play a new round. And now I have a truck to drive around with a machine gun on top, so it gives me an advantage. So I have to kind of like manage the troops here. But I don't think I'll go with an upgradable tree along the game. So far I just want to make a game board, and you have to capture a few of those points, have to destroy the enemy. And I think for now I first want to, today I want to create the grid spawning mechanic here, and After I have that implemented, I want to make a player that can move around on it and check whether the field is a player or not. And then in 2 days, so over tomorrow, can you say that? Yeah, tomorrow, I'll work on the mini game idea here. If I have the setup, if you now go with a troop of yours on the one enemy troop here, you can the day after tomorrow. Yeah, that sounds better than tomorrow. You can attack him and this game mode will start. If you get to the top, you will capture the field, and if you die, I'm thinking about the health system, so the player that goes up here can upgrade maybe his health, so he have like 3 lives and get hit 3 times by those rocks, or the lives are made of the amount of troops that are attacking this one field. Now if I attack with 3 groups this one field here, and then I'll have 3 hearts, and then if the player maybe attacks back, so I can, if I attack, I'll be in this position, I'll control the ball that rolls up this hill or has to climb up this hill. For now I'm just thinking about a ball, maybe later this will be a player character or so. Now I think I'll just take a ball because I don't have to 3D model anything for it or animate it. And after that, if you get attacked, you can throw the the stuff at them and hopefully can defend them. But I think I have to make balance the game a lot, so that you're not in a big advantage if you have to defend, so that you can spam those items and immediately end the match by winning. They can't just camp there. But I want this to be a casual game that you can play against an AI or against a friend or so, and then you maybe can make a story, an offline version of it, where you're just gonna say that you have a whole world map or maybe even a few stars, and then you'll have like 1,000 levels or so. I don't think this will be too hard to make. If I have a correct level generator, then I pretty much can do an infinite amount of those games here. Like those fields, you see how they fit together. You saw it in here, the video. You can scale them up. I actually think that I might do like this, the game. But yeah, we'll see. I just wanted to make something with hexagons because I think it looks really cool. And yeah, so I think you've got the game idea. You basically have a big map where you have to capture all the other fields, and you capture the other fields by playing like a mini game. This was the clear idea of it. Okay, nice. Then I think I'll start with implementing here player at the spawn mechanics. I might want to make it. No, let's for now say the spawner system is pretty easy. So we're just gonna make a 4x4 field or 9x9 field that we can set up in the script, how big the field should be, or the game field, and then on random positions set the player. Yeah, okay. But I first of all want to invert the faces of my 3D model here, because this really bothers me, because it only renders the insides, because Unity only renders the insides of the 3D object, so don't have to. I mean, if normally you don't see the inside, though Unity don't have to render them, but with your Blender, you might sometimes have the problem if you created an object, extruded some points and made it a face by on your own. If you have played with Blender around and maybe made like a field here, a box here and here, or played around with boxes, you probably hit the face key or the F key to make a face along a clear opened edge, and then this sometimes happens. So far I always remade the object, but I don't think this will fix it if I do it again. Just gonna Blender, just gotta do something. Blender inverse, there it was. Inverse faces. Third? Oh yeah, third. Inverse. So, meanwhile I'm just gonna do some of my
So you just
old stuff
really
here.
well,
Old.
You're happy because your hard work finally is done. You imported it to Unity, and then you see this. This drove me absolutely insane, but I found a solution for it. Because here you see the meshes are not correctly. So how to fix this? Let me show you what's wrong. The problem here is that my outside is inside and my inside is out. I know, very confusing, but let me show you. You can just select the model and then choose face orientation. Now I have blue parts and red parts in this one. The blue parts.
Look at this in my 3D model. Hexagon.blend. And I saved the file. I mean, it took me 2 minutes to model this, but yeah. What did you do? Faces mode. Oh yeah.
Are correct and the red parts are flipped inside out. Now how do you fix this? Go to edit mode, then you can select the faces that are red, go to mesh, normals, and flip the normals. So
Ooh, yeah. I don't know how often I just remodeled a whole street that took me like 4 hours. Yeah, I think I should have Googled it. Would have saved a lot of work. I have everything. Mesh, transform, draw, Bob. Thank you. I'll probably have fun doing it. See ya.
this one, go to mesh, normals,
Mesh. Normals flip. There we go. Everything is. Okay, we can disable it. I don't think anybody else is watching. I might just make some. It's for my game here. So let's see. what's up, the scripting skull? Oh, sorry, Polly. I forgot. How's the day going? Oh, do you have school right now? Thank you. So, okay. I'll leave the stuff here. Inverted. Go to exports and let's delete this thing again. 3D model here, delete it up here, and now import it again. So let us search up the folder here, Hexagon game. Don't have a name for this game so far, so if you have any ideas for it, please let me know. But now it's at the state of Polyhex, but I don't really like how the name sounds if you speak it out. But I think the name Poly and Hexagon should be combined in some way. Wanted to ask ChatGPT, but it was down. Yeah, it's still down. Okay, so let's just... Oh, yeah, that's great. Let's see how big it is compared to a regular cube. Oh, it's actually not that different. I thought it would be way bigger, but then apparently well, I have to export it, delete it again, and have to set the transform point of it center. Do it here. Set this to center. Also save it, file, export it as an FBX. So exported it in again. Oh, if you put it again. Mouse compilation stuff. Let me just search it up again. Blender. Origin. Set origin. Better X again as a hexagon. So we're just gonna delete hexagon again. Here, delete it up here. Again. That's good. That's how I want it. We have this white thing here. Just see for the camera. Don't know why the camera is pivoted like this, but oh, it was on the camera at both. Down on the x-axis. Yeah, just like that. So we have one of those hexagons right here. I think I'll create a hexagon object. It and call it tile. Set it position. Right inside. And here I want to add a box collider. See how we can make a good box collider for this thing. Now 0.5. Scale this up. Position of the hexagon. 6, 7, 7. It's about right. 7. This is dot. No, that one is okay. Just copy. Paste component is new. 7. 1. How can I rotate this? Okay, let's just make this a mesh collider. Mesh collider. It's right here. Let's see what this looks like. Can't I see there? So we have this. I mean, apparently it works. Let's just figure out how we have to spawn those tiles. We just create them. just prefabs. So we go in here, tile, there, once, there, that. I think I like it if there's a small gap between them. I here made it hexagon.
No, exactly.
Hmm.
In the same way.
Can't really see it here.
I think this was all done before we're gonna do subsystem geometry nodes.
I think there's a really small gap. Not that big as this one. 5. So then let's create a road object. Tiles, drag the tiles inside of here. Make it again. Divide by 2. This also divided by 2. Addition. Right. Okay. Of course I didn't saw the edge collider here if it's tiny. Okay, we'll figure this out later. Just want to can't I just this process sets one. Six, 5. I think this is about the distance that we need. I'm just thinking about if it would be more performant if you just do this rendering and this creation of those hexagons in a script, from a script, so we have more control of about the height. Now if you want to scale it up like this, I mean it still looks okay, but if you you don't really notice it. But the edges get like stretched out, though you don't have like this nice curved round. You have this round is now like this, and then if you scale it up, I think, or you can see it right here, isn't round anymore. But you probably won't need this for, at least for today, not. So let me just take some notes here. Do I have a note block here anywhere? We have mixer or mirror. Don't need the note. So we have a bit bigger. Than this size. Don't even know why I did it so perfect. Still looks like shit. Damn. Oh. Not even a hexagon. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right. So if we want to place it here. Oh. Almost saw it. Then let's go to P. P equals 0. This again. This. want another coordinates. This is 0. No, it's also not it. Just open up Unity here in the back. Oh, I know why it's not working. I always want to press here space to move around. It's not space to move around. Do this tile. This is on +1. Here are the minus, and on the tile it is 8. No. 0 dot 8. Yep, this looks about right. Don't know why this took me that long. Oh, it's too late, so I have to delete those. I have to see how I set this. Now we have the right collisions. Now we can see on the filter that we have some collisions around here. We haven't had this earlier because the object itself is scaled to 100 in the prefab and rotated to 90 degrees on the x-axis, so it stays like every time you export from Blender, the object is instead of this lies like this. I think that has to do because with Blender having the Y and that axis switched. So in Blender the Z axis are like up and down, and here in Unity it is Y to move up and down. But yeah. There's probably a way to get around this, but I mean, just rotating it helped me too, and it was probably faster than if I were to download a plugin that exported it or write it myself. this tile spawner. Well, on one side. Spawn the tiles, right? Okay, so let me script right here. Then first of all we need a reference to our object. Create a header, references. So we're in no rush or anything, so I can just chill out here a bit. And the game object, we'll call this tile object, and then we'll make a public void spawn tile. Now spawn properties public int vector2 spawn width size like that equals new vector 2. Let's make it 5 by 5 at first. Now spawn tile. We first of all want to game object x equals instantiate tile object, the x dot transform dot position here. Lists and this serialize field, call it list, game object, and we'll call this tile spawned. X.transform dot just X. I almost made X also game object dot transform dot game object. Kinda dumb. Make that 3 and we'll make it over here. Like that. field vector 3 spawn pose. Let's new vector 3.0 spawn pose. That's spawn pose. Then here, add to list, spawn and set tile. List, set properties for the properties for the next spawn pose. Public float. So how do we call this float? We'll call this float pose to the spawn pose x equal to z, and this equals this is a serialized field. Serialized field. Okay, so first let me just get this here. Set it from the code spawn pose.x needs to be added. Also 7.3 7.3f. Row 1, row 2. So in the first row, I changed my mind. I want to do this with the vector 2. So we have vector 2. First line, how do we call it? Next pose. Pose equals new vector 2. The x address was 1.73f, comma 0, and 2. It is row 1, expose row 2. Spawn pose. Spawn pose vector. In row 1 false. Is in row 1. Vector 3. So we have this, then else, the same thing. This will be a 2. Just like so. I just have to write the formula down. true. So now spawn time. Yeah. Grid. Vector 2. Size. Size. To make a for loop here. Get the length. Size dot y x. Size y. Debug dot tile block spawn. And let's go ahead and test this out. Oh, of course my PC freezes again. I don't fucking know what's wrong with my PC there. Probably because I'm streaming this much. Yeah, 100% on the video. Yeah, okay, I'm streaming on YouTube and on Twitch, so it's double power. I destroy. Yeah, for some reason every hour or so my CPU just goes up to 100. Then now on what is it now? What, let me see, on 22, 14% of power. So out of nowhere. Okay, I just exported the Unity or just loaded Unity the scripts in. But normally this shouldn't take 100% of my CPU. So every 1 or 2 hours there's one of those freezes. So I had them before here in stream. Size the row here. The row 2 it's at 0.865. So this is at 1 for 8. Spawn to same object. And let's maybe just first of all hit a 2x2. Normally there should be 4. 2 by 2 is 4, yeah. And I know what's... If row 1... row 1... the false, we have to set the... I don't even have this there. I make this whole stuff here. So there we won't set the position. Or we actually will, but not in the way you probably think. We have to reset the X values there, the Y values on meta there. This will be spawned first at Z. The rest will be set to 0. Yeah, just like that. Don't even have to check here for it, but I still have to set this one here. So like this normally should give us back 4x4 grid. Let's make a 4. Yeah, no, now it's a 4. No, that's not what I want. Spot the first, spot the second. Oh yeah, I'm dumb, I have to remove this here. Or else this wouldn't matter. Interesting. Let's go here, here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Those. Next. Oh yeah. And here we'll set no, we'll do it's gonna be here every time. Let's test this out. If you want an explanation, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, you can just ask, then I can explain it for you if you're interested. Now it looks like we have some stacking. Yeah, we do. this, but normally this should create the problem that we are not resetting the. So yeah, that's right. Now we have something like this, but I don't understand why it's doing this. Goes for here. Normally they no. Normally then it should go from here, bop bop bop. Try it like that. Looks a bit better, but definitely looks better. Damn. In row. If it's there, it's false. Spawn post. Let's try out if this works. So if it's true, that's a false, and the X value test of first finished. X value. Should be the Z here if you set the position, because that's 3. Here it should be set to 0. There we already set this. Log, and what do we want to debug? We want to debug the onPost.x. Right. Just debug the whole thing. We make the manager the stuff YouTuber 2. See the whole grid better. And this works. It's also this is to work. Three by three. I think I have an idea. Or maybe not. So the problem is, I think this gets called 2 times. But we don't want. This should be called 2. We may have to enable the here call it the first. Have to set this before we'll set this. I really liked working with grids. Let's get it back here. Let's make I just do some thinking. Spawn. What's up, Basti? The new game is about you having to fight against an AI or another player. So I might implement multiplayer, but this game probably won't play as much so that I can make it only multiplayer. So you might played Star Wars Battlefront 2 before or heard of it. The old version, not the new one, the old Star Wars Battlefield 2 2005, the year before I was born. And there is a mode called Galactic Conquest.
Hello.
And in this mode you have all of those planets here. You play in the galaxy and you have to capture here every single one of those red dots. You play the blue ones, like yeah, the good ones of course. And I think you can also play the red ones, but this doesn't matter now. And you have to capture all the stars, and you do that by flying, having those ships. Everywhere you have those ships, and you go to a planet. You can attack the planet, and then you have a normal match of.
Is way more interesting.
You're playing this. You have the ability to add some modifications. You play a character here, so you have some boost, more health, or healing or some stuff. And then you just start and play on this map a complete normal game, like the new Star Wars or a Call of Duty match. You can think about this. Goes for like 5 to 10, 15 minutes. And the one who wins in this map gets here, get this star, and then you have to capture the whole solar system. And I want to kind of replicate this game mode because it's really fun. It's a really fun mechanic. It's not like you play around and then you forget about this round. You actually have to play this for a week. I mean, you can speedrun it, but it still will take you a long time, if you don't have a really good tactic at the start, to eliminate this. You mean? So you have to probably play for, I think where I played this, I mean this game here. And I want to replicate this by having here those I already forget the name, hexagons, right? And you have a map of those. I'm working on the generation for the map right now. It's just 2 for loops that spawn a grid of blocks, and then you have a random amount, or maybe have like 4 players or so, 4 of those fields, and then you have like 60, 70 to capture. And if on the other field is a red field, this means there is a player, the enemy on, then you have to play a mini game. This might be like this here, the one who attacks plays this ball and has to come up, go up the hill. I might add more various variations of maps for the attack here probably. But I think I want to make a prototype of this whole game in 1 week, and you have to go up this hill and have to avoid those balls or rocks that the other player or AI is spawning at you, throwing at you. And if the AI attacks a field of you, one of your fields, you are on the position on top, and you have to throw the rocks down. Like you have to play places, and then you have to wait for like 2 seconds before you can place the next rock or something like this. And there I'm thinking about like a Clash Royale or a Clash of Clans strategy, where you have like cards that you can maybe upgrade or so. So at the end you have like 10 cards that you can equip and in your deck, and your deck can be like only 2 cards you can always select, or 5 or so, I'm not sure. Then over a time those will spawn in here, but probably for the first years for the prototype I won't just will give the player a ball that has like 2 seconds to respawn before you can 2 seconds before you can spawn the next one. And if the player gets up, he get the field, and your goal is to capture all fields. But if you lose, the enemy will get this field or just stay on this field. And yeah, and then I thought it might be easier if I add a tic-tac-toe version, but then I thought about making an AI for the tic-tac-toe, and I think there is the AI for this here better. I don't want this to be completely randomized, or because then it won't be as much fun. You probably won't actually realize what the AI would do here if I would generate this. Yeah, and then you might be able to buy some skins at the end if you have them, collect them in-game money. And I might add some ads, but only if you maybe die or so. Somewhere, or just a support button where you can support, or just buy an extra skin that won't really affect the gameplay, but just looks cool or so. It costs like €2 or so. $2. Yeah, let's see. So nothing much. So I probably won't add ads to it. I'll probably upload it to here itch.io and on mobile if this works out. I'm planning to work a month on this, and now I'll give myself 7 days to make a prototype and see if the game is actually fun, how I'm thinking about this. And right now I'm working on the terrain generation. Generating this, then it goes to here, goes here and here. Yeah, this kind of stuff. I might want to make this myself, like the whole complete spawn algorithm, but I just realized that I probably can't do this, because if I were to do this, I press V, and then I'm up here. Just say the map here, they are 2x2, goes up for a bit, and there will always be like here's 2, here's 2, here's 2, and the guy in the tutorial I watched, or not tutorial but showed off the this here, the whole game map is a hexagon too, so you have those like nice edges here. They won't look like as if you remove this. Yeah. is thought about a different way of spawning it. So, as I had it before, you have the position here, it's 0, then it spawns from there, goes to here, here, here. After it's completed this row, let me just make this a bit nicer, like this, let's do it 3, and it goes to the next one, and put it right here. And then it goes to the next one. And then what we will notice that it has a center. The center would be this object right here. Right? Yeah, the center of the grid would be this object. But if we made it like that, this loop here, just make an object in the middle and spawn around this object. Spawn another round. Just like that. Sorry, I didn't tell this. If you're still here, Basti, what's your idea? Sorry, I did. You wrote something. Center, 2 to here, to there, 2 going up, 1, shit thing. I only have to read this equation here if there's an equation. I think it would be best if the object though, it's just one lies on the one side. Those. So the first one. This would be probably a better size for it. Like this. And I'll take it. This will be 8.6, 8.60.86.
Welcome back, everybody. Today I thought we would
If you've played any strategy game over the past decade, you will probably be all too familiar with a hexagonal grid layout. In fact, hexagons aren't just confined to the virtual world of gaming, but are frequently used in our tabletop cousins too. Designers didn't just stumble upon these layouts by chance, and there are of course plenty of strategy games that default to a standard square grid, but in my personal experience, hexagons are much more interesting to work with. Not only do they allow for an extra degree of movement, they snap nicely together, and I think you'll agree they are all around more satisfying to look at than a standard grid. The problem, however, is that modern engines and coordinate systems aren't really designed in a way that make hexagon layouts super approachable. So, there's some work to be done in Unity if you want to put together a hex-based game with hex-based placement, generation, and navigation. And of course, as hexagons are the bestigons, I figured that today we could take a look at how we can build and work with them. Hi there, I'm Matt and welcome to Game Dev Guide. And in today's video, we're going to look at how we can procedurally create a hex mesh and then build and lay out a grid of them for a typical strategy game. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a little scene here with a basic camera controller setup. We can move, zoom in and out, and rotate around. This code is based off of the one in the camera controller video from a few years ago, with some minor adaptations here and there to improve its handling and feel. I'll link the two reference videos below for more information. I want to use this scene as the base for a strategy game, and I want to replace this ground here with a map of hexagonal tiles. I could go and design a bunch of tiles in Blender or something, but while I'm prototyping, I'd really like to be able to have some more control and test a few different ideas out, so a procedural approach will give me a lot more of that flexibility. So what we want to do then is to get Unity to draw a 3D hexagon mesh and lay out a whole bunch of them in the given order that we dictate. Let's start then by getting Unity to draw a single hexagon. Let's go ahead and create a new script which we'll call Hex Renderer. This script will contain the logic to draw and render a tile on the screen. We'll add a mesh filter and mesh renderer as a required component and make sure to fetch them during awake. As you know, a mesh in Unity is defined by a series of vertices and
So this will be the final name. Not the final, but I like this name. Hex War.
and triangles, and we need to feed them into our mesh filter in a given order to define a shape properly. I've always found it annoying to keep track of every single vertex and triangle index when dealing with dynamic meshes, so instead I prefer to break my meshes up into faces and then have our code combine all of those faces into all the info needed for the mesh to render. So at the top of our script, let's define a new struct called face. Essentially, we're going to use this as a container to map each face of our mesh, so we'll need to establish everything that our mesh renderer will use. Here we'll have a list of vector 3s for our vertices, a list of integers for our triangles, and a list of vector 2s for our UVs. You can also choose to define the normals and additional mesh settings in here if you want, but for the purposes of this video, we'll stick to these three for now as they're the most important. With this now set up, we can start constructing the faces of our hexagon. Let's first start by drawing the top surface. We'll create a method called drawMesh and call it when our script is enabled. While I'm setting things up, I want to visualize things more easily by redrawing everything anytime a change is made in the inspector, so we'll also call our function inside the onValidate method. Redrawing things inside of onValidate will likely throw a bunch of warnings in the console, which is fine for now. If we look in Unity, we should now have a mesh being drawn, but as we haven't created any faces yet, there's nothing for our renderer to actually show on screen. Let's go back into here, we'll add the various settings from our previous script, as the grid will now handle generating our individual hexes. We'll also add a vector 2.
Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, we'll be discussing about hexagonal tile maps in Unity. So let's look at the example. This is an empty project. We need to have a tile map grid on which we can draw on. So in order to create a tile map grid, we go to Game Object, 2D, and now we have tile map, hexagonal point top tile map, and flat top. I'm going to basically create a hexagonal flat top tile map. So what is this hexagonal flat top tile map? I'll just select this first. Now when I selected it, I got a grid here and ground in the scene. So I'll change the name of this layer to hexagonal tiles. Now I'll need to have a tile palette in order to draw. So in order to create
Hello and welcome, I'm your CodeMonkey. Here let's look at how to take a square grid and convert it into a hex grid. We want to change the shape of the grid and also be able to identify what grid position belongs to a certain world position. So a while ago I launched my turn-based strategy course. It's a really awesome course that will help you take your skills from beginner to advanced. The reviews have been extremely positive, so I'm really happy with how it came out. Throughout the whole course I'm constantly talking about writing good clean code and focus on keeping a good code architecture. Because of that, the final state of the course is very adaptable and easily expandable, so in the last lecture I asked what would people like to see in future free updates, and the most common request is hex grid, so that's what I've been researching. Now if you just want a simple math answer to test if a certain point is inside a hex, I already covered that in a separate video. That one is focused solely on the math for doing that test. It's really great, and I definitely encourage you to watch that video, especially if you're not a math expert just like I'm not. Learning how to do that is relatively simple and will help you boost your math skills. The goal in this video is a hex grid, which doesn't actually require that logic for testing a point, it's mostly just a distance check. Like I said, I'm hard at work on the free expansion for the course, making hex grids work with the entire rest of that project, but since this is such a requested and useful topic, I figured I'd also make a standalone video based on the grid system that I've built over many videos on this channel. And for this topic, it's actually surprisingly difficult to find some good info on it. If you search for Unity Hex, you will only find two things: tutorials making visual hexes, either mesh-based or with a tile map, and tutorials on making hex logic, but based on using mesh objects and doing some expensive raycasts. Those tutorials are great if that's exactly what you're looking for, but while that approach does work, it's not scalable. If you create an object with a mesh and a physics collider, you will very quickly reach the limits of that method, so you won't be able to make a game with a massive grid. So over here, let's do it properly with some basic math. Now, before we get to the code, let's do a quick overview of what we're trying to build here. Over here is a simple image of a basic square grid. So all the positions are placed neatly in a simple square shape. Each grid position has a certain cell size for both the width and the height. Now over here is the hex grid that we want to build. The main difference between them is this offset on the X for each odd row. So row 0 starts off here, which would be on something like 0, 0. However, for row 1, we need to offset it by a little bit, and the offset position is going to be half the cell size. And the other very important thing is the Z or the Y position. By the way, all the logic here works exactly the same in 3D or 2D, meaning it's exactly the same in XY or an XZ plane. So all the code can easily be converted into either X-based or Y-based. So like I said, over here the only difference is the Y offset. On a square grid, each row is exactly one cell size above the previous one. However, over here on the X grid, the Y offset for over here the first row is not exactly the cell size. If we were to offset upwards by the cell size, then instead of being positioned in here, it would actually be positioned in here. And if we used half cell size, then we would end up here, so it's neither of those. In order for this to be offset perfectly, the offset has to be 75% the size. So that is half the cell size plus a quarter of the cell size, or 0.75.
So we could just test out something. 75 of this.
The size. Now these numbers are extremely important to get right in order to make sure that our hex grid matches perfectly. With that, we're going to be able to position all of our hex grid positions. Then we need to incorporate that into our coordinate conversion logic, meaning converting to and from grid positions to world positions. So in order to convert from a grid to a world position, that one is pretty simple. We take the XY grid position, like for example over here, grid position 1, 0. We take that one and we just multiply by the cell size. So in this case, if we got a cell size of 10, then position 1, 0 would be in world position 10, 0. And then on top of that, we also need to test if it's an odd or even row. So if it is an odd row, like for example, we're testing for 0, 1, then we do the same basic math. So in this case, this would be world position 0, 10. But then we check if this is an odd row. If so, then we add an X offset. And that X offset is going to be by half the cell size. So converting grid positions to world positions is actually pretty simple. The tricky part is on the world position to grid position. For that, when we receive a world position, we need to test which grid position that it belongs to. Now with a square grid, that is pretty simple. We can just round the position and it works. So a position over here is going to round to here. here, position down here rounds to there, so all of it works. However, on a hex grid, just rounding does not work. For example, here, if we are above this line and we test a point in here, just rounding it will likely give us this point here, which would obviously not be correct. So for this to work, we first round the point to get a rough closest grid position. So let's say rounding would round into this one. Then we take that node and we grab all 6 of its neighbors, so the one to the left, left down, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We grab all 6 neighbors of the rounded grid position. Then we cycle through all of them and we do a simple distance check to the origin. So check distance to this one, this one, this one, this one, and we would find out that this one is indeed the closest. With that logic, we can indeed convert a world position into the closest accurate grid position. Okay, so that's everything we need to build, so let's do it. If you use Unity in any way, definitely get my Ultimate Unity Overview course. It will teach you how to use the many tools and features that Unity has so you can be more effective and make better games faster. There's no need to build something yourself from scratch if there's already a built-in tool that works great. Unity has tons of them that you might not know about. The course already has 15 lectures, each covering a different tool or feature of the engine, and is constantly getting free updates. Or if you prefer step-by-step courses on making a specific game, check out my Builder Defender course. I also have a full course only on using visual scripting. There isn't a single line of code in any of those games. And if you're past the beginner stage and you want a guided path to help you make the jump from beginner to advanced, then get my turn-based strategy course. It will help you massively improve your programming and game dev skills. On all courses, I'm always available in the Q&A section, answering all of your questions every single day. So check them out with a link in the description. Okay, so let's implement the design for our hex grid system. Like I said, this is going to be based on my grid system, which I've built over several videos on the channel. Over here, I have my grid class working. So I got a grid with a certain width and height, and as you can see, it has a simple square shape. Now the goal is to convert this shape into a hex shape. So here is the code creating that grid. All I do is define a certain width, certain height, and a certain cell size, then just create a grid using my grid class, give it the width, height, the cell size, position on vector 3.0, then just cycle through the entire thing and just instantiate a prefab on each grid position. Again, if you don't understand this code, go watch the other videos on the grid system. This system was built from scratch starting from the very first video. Now the first thing we're going to do is handle the conversion from grid position to world position. First we want to do that so we can generate the correct world position so we can position all of our visuals. But before we do that, let's actually duplicate this class. I don't want to destroy my square grid system, that one is still useful. So here on my grid system, just going to duplicate this and call this the grid hex xz. Then inside the script, just need to change all of these references, so grid hex xz, just in there, over here on the constructor.
Okay, so I think today wasn't a really long stream, or won't be. I'll do some research, just watch some videos, get some information on how to calculate those things. And if anybody's in watching, I'll see you tomorrow maybe, or I probably stream tomorrow, but yeah.